Okay, so this is our second episode of K-drama versus reality. Today, Louis picked the drama. Last time it was me with some not really Korean drama, but he was to introduce this new segment that we have going on. This time we're gonna take some scenes from a Korean drama called Missing. I think it's actually the first drama that I've seen when I arrived in Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
All right. Because it's about 8 years ago when it was first released.
yeah, so it's the first drama that I've seen, and I remember being shocked by every scene, and I was like, no way that's even true, like
Right.
it's so hardcore. It's a worker in a big corporate, and yeah, the base story is like that worker doesn't have any educational background. I mean, he stopped at high school or something like
Yeah,
that.
he was originally the Go. He played Go
Right, he was a
and
Go
a
player.
but he failed in getting into whatever getting to a certain level, and
Yeah.
so he had to like start working at a company, and so he has no experience or education related to that field.
And he got into that company because he knew someone inside, right? Or he
Yeah, I
was
think so.
introduced by some family manager or
Can't
something.
just remember, but probably
It
yeah,
was like this.
yeah.
How do we say that in English when you get entered in a company by someone else? Someone recommended you, or
Ooh.
there's a word in French, but maybe not in English.
Yeah, there probably is in English as well, but
But there's a word in Korean also, which I forgot. But
yeah.
they don't like people like this because in
Mm.
Korea, people believe that, of course, if you've gone through the hardship of studying the bachelor or master degree, why should someone that didn't study as hard
Right.
as you did can get the same job? So
Right. And I think in the past it probably happened a lot, but these days like the job entrance requirements are really strict. So I think it doesn't really happen as much. Obviously it will, but not as much as it used to, I think.
anyway, do you want to introduce then the specific part that we're going to talk about in this
Yeah.
drama?
So the reason why I chose Miseng was because I think it's like the perfect drama to highlight like real working culture for Koreans. It's because a lot of dramas are either like, for example, you get like romantic dramas and they're like picture Korea as like the perfect place, like beautiful houses and lifestyle. But then you've got other dramas like Squid Game or like movies like Parasite, which are the complete opposite, and they show like kind of like the poorer end of Korea. So this drama really shows the work, like the office workers, the life of an office worker kind of thing.
Okay.
So and this scene, if we start off, the reason why I want to show it was thank you. These guys have just been on a work dinner. All right.
Just click on here if
Sorry.
you want to stop.
Yeah, sorry, he's just trying to show an idiot how to use a computer. Okay, let me stop. So what it is that these guys have been on a work dinner, which obviously due to Corona doesn't happen much anymore. But back in the day and even up till Corona, like regularly, people go on like the team dinners or generally whole work dinners. And the reality is that like they're not getting home till 10, 11 o'clock, and they've got to go home to their families or go home to their own place. And it's just, yeah, it's a tough life.
I've seen that silly statistic like a few years ago. I don't know how much that's true or not. Like you never know what you find on the internet. But I've seen that statistic that dad in Korea see their kids like 5 minutes a week on average or something.
Like, can't be true.
Not weekday. No, it can be because usually, like you said, dads, they come home late and kids are already asleep. So the dad, they just say,
Yeah.
they just kiss goodnight their kids.
Right.
And then for the week, I mean, on the weekend, they
Yeah,
catch
yeah.
up and they actually spend some time
Right.
with their kids. But on the weekday, they finish work, go home, kiss their kid goodnight. Then maybe the kid was waiting for the dad to come back home,
Yeah.
and then they just go to sleep.
And even in the mornings, I know kids wake up early, but often like it depending on if you live outside of Seoul but work in Seoul, you have to get up and leave like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. and
Right.
otherwise you're going to be stuck in traffic. So yeah, this drama really shows the difficulties of actually just the real life in Korea. And this shows like 4 different people, and it's kind of like 4 different lives, and I've already skipped the first part. So the beginning here shows the young lady like coming home, and I think she's just obviously moved to a new place by herself. But as you can see, like she's living in just like a one room now, and I don't know for you, like when you first moved to Korea and working, I can imagine this was probably a similar situation for you.
I stayed in one room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I didn't know that was even really possible.
Right. Yeah,
But
exactly.
like
You have one.
literally one room. We're
Right.
talking about kitchen, living room, and bedroom. I mean, it's one room. You just have the toilet that is separated.
Right. Right.
But it's literally one room. I don't know if that's does it exist in other like major cities?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've got them in England. We call them bed sits, where you obviously it's just like a bedroom as well. But yeah, but in Korea, I think it's a lot more common. It's that for students and for like before you're married and you like you're working in companies or wherever, like it's quite a common practice to live in these type of places, and they're not even cheap. I mean, you know, um, yeah. So as you can see, she's like you can just generally see by her persona here. What about it? By her persona, she's pretty deflated, and she's just starting the new company, and yeah, not feeling great. So like,
That guy is wasted.
yeah, and this is their like Tim Jandim, I guess, like the team leader, and he's walking home to his family. You know, pretty normal sight you can see on a weeknight, and this is him getting home to his
And
family.
spending that daily 1 minute with their kids.
Yeah, 1 minute a week. But
Like he wants to play with them because he haven't seen them during the day. But
so you can see like you could. This is I think a reality thing. People, they want to be with a family, and he's coming home like this time of night, wants to wake. He just even though it's not good for the kids, he's waking up the kids just to have that like a little bit of experience and fun with them, and the wife's gonna beat him up now. Yeah, but like what I wanted to show in this previous video is you can see the three kids are actually all living in the same bedroom. So even though he's like a Tim Jam Nim, probably getting a decent salary, the reality is you can't in Korea. If you live in Seoul or on the outside of Seoul, people are living in apartments or small villas. You don't have the luxury of having like a really big house where they have their own room and everything like that.
this scene, don't you think it's a little bit exaggerated? This one in particular.
But if you have
here where I think the purpose of this bit is really like trying to also compare
to reality,
to reality, and I agree. Until now, I agree with a lot of things that we've seen. But this one right now, like as you said, he's a Tim Jong in a major company.
Yeah.
Do you think some people live like this?
Well, you think in reality, so they've got their own bedroom. If they've only got another bedroom, yeah. Well, I guess these are triplets, so you're probably not going to divide a triplet, put two of them in one room and one in the other room. So it kind of makes sense, I guess, to have all three kids in the other room.
And the thing is here. Genuinely, I'm not sure if that scene is showing like three kids in a room to show that they don't have so much space, or if it's to show that they are, actually families in Korea, they are really close to each other. And like the mom is, we say this about Korean mom, like they're like, I forgot that word. I forget all the words in Korean, but the mom who are like too attached to their kids and actually they sleep with their kids for a very long time.
Yeah, that happens. That, right? Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, clearly the mom is not sleeping with her kids now because she doesn't have another room. She also has her own room. The three kids probably sleep in that room, but she probably has her own room, but she just like to stay with her kids.
Yeah, that's a good point. But like but just the general scene, you can see it's not like for a guy who's making a lot of money, probably it's it obviously shows they're not having like the most rosiest of lifestyles. And the reality is that's what I wanted to say. Like these days, in the last, I don't know, 5 years or something, Korean houses have like at least doubled in price everywhere. I know it has around the world, but even here, like it's really extreme. Like the average of like an apartment's like about $900,000, $1 million around about that.
Yeah,
like,
that's a whole whole other topic. But an average worker cannot afford a house in Seoul, right?
That's what I want to say. Yeah, so you can just show like it's the reality of everything. So. And this scene also shows a similar thing. Actually, he's coming home to his wife, and you can see she's not happy.
She looks a little bit more friendly than the other woman.
Yeah, at
least she's not beating him.
At least she's not hitting him, I guess. But it just shows on the other half as well, like what the wives and like, have to put up with as well. You know, like people always say like Ajumas have a great life. They, you know, a lot of the wives don't work. They'll like meet friends during the daytime and look after the kids, but it's not easy. They got married and, you know, they want to spend time with their husbands and stuff, but they're away like a lot of the nights. They don't come home till 10, 11.
For some reason, that scene makes me more sad than the previous one,
Why?
because the guy is a Timjong and he has the power to actually change things a little bit.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
probably the one who called for that
It
wishing
worked
night.
in it, right. True.
And even though, you know, he's not fully responsible for the whole company culture, but he's participating into it. That guy really has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Clearly, he just wanted to spend with his newly born kid
Right.
instead of going to a work dinner.
Right. And it happens all the time. You have no choice. If you get asked by Tim Janim or like the boss to go on a work dinner, you can't refuse. It's like,
But I think the sad reality also of Korea is that some people do enjoy the work dinner to get out of the house and not seeing the kids and the mother. That's the sad reality. But I think a lot of people actually want to escape that because they've already had so much stress during work. Like just going back home for them is like additional stress, and they just prefer to go out and drink.
right. But
For some people, I'm not saying
do you
it's for
think the
everyone.
do you think the younger generation also think like that?
I hope not. I hope it's changing.
Yeah.
But
Because
clearly, but you can see the difference here.
Mm.
You can see that the young guy is going back home not really drunk, and he's still like okay and trying to.
right.
He's being nice. The other
Yeah.
one is like totally wasted. He's being an asshole to his wife, and the kids like waking them up. You can see the difference.
yeah, true. It's kind of funny though, look, but the Tim Jandin probably has like more stress. He probably having to actually, you know, he's got responsibility of all
So
his
the
team.
more stress
and
you
stuff.
have, the more an asshole you can be.
Yeah, that's another. But
I don't know. I can see in that scene the generation gap already.
yeah, true. But like one thing I wanted to talk about was like obviously due to Corona, people can't do this anymore. So do you think it's like, you know, will have brought families closer together, or you know, imagine for like people like him or you like being able to go home at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock and spend like a whole night with your family, like, do you know, it's
I don't know. I mean, does it really make a big difference for the family when the dad has to work until like 10, 11 anyway? The only difference that before they were, after 10, they just go to a work dinner together and they come back even later at home. But in the end, kids are already asleep. And I don't know, it's not like suddenly because there is Corona that the worker has so much free time. They're still like doing yagun, which is
You really
extra
think?
hours in Korean.
I don't know. I think people have been able to go home earlier now though. What about you? Like, do you still what?
Me, before, after Corona, I worked the same amount.
Yeah, but sometimes you went on Hueshiks, all right? Like worked in
Yeah, but in our company, not that much. But
Yeah. I think in generally, obviously this was like 8 years ago. It's kind of, the trend has definitely changed. People don't go on as many
but
work dinners anymore.
in the end, Hueshik cannot be more than once a week.
I don't know, like my brother-in-law, like he, I don't want to say the company, but like one of the big companies here, and he used to work at one of the branches, and nearly, I don't know, a few times a week, he was dragged into these work dinners, like completely, like
2
made
times
to
a week, that's a lot.
a few, and maybe even more than 2 times sometimes. Like it was a regular thing, and he was just always getting, you know, like made to drink, and like he would just come home like late, and like luckily he just lived with his mum and dad, so it's a bit different, you know. But still, it was really extreme. And then after like a year, thankfully, he moved to the main branch, and nothing. Like it's funny how it's all different depending on you know.
Anyway, the whole work culture is broken, to be honest.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work to.
But I really think
Improve things.
because of Corona, like it'll have changed the trend as well. I think even after Corona finishes, like there definitely won't be as many Hueshiks and stuff. And generally, because it's just companies don't have enough money, they don't have the money to be able just to send the workers and get drunk all the, you know, it's a lot.
That'd be a positive outcome if like people like do less Hueshik after Corona. That would be at least one positive things out of Corona.
Yeah. For me, it's not so good. Like a bar owner, I want them to come to my bar and like spend money. There's nothing
Oh,
better.
they are the people who spend the most money because it's
Yeah.
company card, so they have no limits.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
It's brilliant. And like because there's this culture of you know, like some Timjong, like the team managers, they want to treat their employees, so they will go for the most expensive wine, or
Yeah.
and there's this culture of, you know, showing off a little bit, like, okay, it's company card time.
A
That's
couple
like
of
the most
times,
expensive.
yeah, a couple of times, like on our menu, I haven't had the most expensive wine in stock or something. I didn't order it, and then they'll come in and they'll be like, "I'll get this one. It's like $100," and I'm like inside like dying. I'm like, why didn't I order that wine? That I have to recommend like a $60 wine or something. No, and I've just lost a lot of money because I was too tight to buy the wine. But no, but anyway, like this is just kind of something I wanted to show. Like obviously, it shows kind of in the middle of like people's lives. Obviously these guys are not like dead poor or anything. They're living in like okay houses and stuff, but you know, they're also not living in luxury high end apartments. You know, like with beautiful views over the river and stuff like that. It's just there's definitely a contrast between real dramas and actual reality.
Do you have more clips to show after that one, or I see
There's just
some?
the next clip is just the last guy in the team, and he's like the intern, and I think he still lives with his family. You'll see in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
she's having she's just having a little I don't know moment.
Yeah, that's pretty sad. That's pretty heartbreaking.
I should have skipped straight forward, but anyway, this is even sadder. The intern's like by himself, and he's still living with his family, but yeah, and he's in his own little room. But I mean, yeah, it just shows like a general picture of like everyone's lives and stuff for them.
Anyway, to wrap up maybe that segment, I want to say that I think probably a lot of foreigners who watch me sing, they would think that they are like super overreacting and it's like too much and it's like it's not even close to reality. But I think it is pretty close to reality, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of Koreans saying that they don't like to watch me sing because it reminds them too much of reality. And it's actually so close to reality that for them it's really sad to
difficult
watch.
to watch. Yeah,
and it's that bad.
They can emphasize like too much. It's like if they feel like they're just like watching a copy of their own life. A lot of that. I remember my wife saying, the same thing.
So obviously, like we already said before, it depends in which industry you're working, because clearly I work in tech and like web development, so it's a little bit more young and like we have less wishik and less konde. Konde is a word that people often say in Korean that refers like older people who how can we even translate that in English? Like older people who are just being
power over you. They like just try to dictate your life, control your
life, and also just they're just being they use their
power over
you,
age and power and position over you.
Yeah, it's like a boomer also.
Yeah,
is a boomer.
Yeah, kind of right.
In
kind
English.
of makes sense. Yeah,
it's a mix.
But yeah, like compared to any other dramas, it's kind of like one of the most realistic ones of actual life over here.
I would before even considering working in Korea, I would strongly watch that show.
Yeah.
Before considering working in a Korean company.
Without a doubt. So they're like, just to be clear, they're a trading company. So obviously compared to other, like you said, they probably do a lot more work dinners and stuff like that. I know, like I used to work in a cosmetic company. So for me, I didn't have to go many work dinners, but my boss was nearly drinking every night because he has to deal with other suppliers, there's so many people related to that, buyers and stuff. But I was kind of lucky, thankfully. Like I couldn't do it. I couldn't go home like that. Literally, when I did do a work dinner and had to go home at 10 or 11 o'clock, I couldn't get up the next day. It was, you do it if you go out on a night out, normally you have your day off to rest till 12 or whatever. Like, these guys are expected to get up and be on time or not on time before work starts. It doesn't matter how hungover you are, how tired you are, it doesn't matter.